Ancient Greek philosophers believed there was one unifying force that linked together all creatures and all matter in the cosmos. They called this force the Logos. In his Gospel, St. John the Evangelist begins by writing, "In the beginning was the Word." But word in the original Greek is written as logos. So what he really writes is, "In the beginning was the Logos, and the Logos was with God, and the Logos was God." St. John is telling us that God did not create the world like an artist paints a canvas. Instead, God has thoroughly penetrated the world he created, connecting it all together, while bringing to it unity, order, and beauty. Here's an analogy. Imagine a world of atoms that connects each person into a seamless fabric. When we sin, we cause a rip in the fabric, which leads to division and disorder. When we do good, we repair and strengthen the fabric, bringing happiness and joy. This fabric is the Logos that connects the world together in perfect harmony. The Logos is God, and God is love. So we hold this fabric together by a self-sacrificing love that puts the good of another above our own. When we love with perfect love, we strengthen our relationships and bring a bit of heaven to earth. When we act selfishly, we rip the fabric and bring a bit of hell to earth. You can imagine the peace and tranquility that would fill our world if everyone operated with sacrificial love. We demonstrate this self-sacrificial love to one another by acts of charity. We demonstrate our love for God by choosing to do good and resisting the temptation to do evil. We cannot truly love God if it is not a choice, and so God gives us the free will to either love and obey Him or to turn our backs on Him. In short, He gives us the freedom to rip the fabric of love that brings order to the world. To help us rise above our selfish natures so we can love God and pursue the good of others, God offers His own gift of self-giving love, grace. Grace is God's great enabling power. It is a gift that is above all the powers of nature, and it helps us to overcome enslavement to sin. Sanctifying grace is bestowed upon us at our baptism. Recall that all humans are born spiritually dead. Baptism is the means by which God expels the darkness and brings light into our souls by instilling in us His own divine life, sanctifying grace. He does this by giving us the Holy Spirit to dwell in our souls. This is how He connects you into the fabric of His divine will and begins to work through you. Just as plugging a lamp into a socket allows the invisible electricity to flow through the lamp and create light, sanctifying grace connects you directly to God and enables Him to flow through you. But you can lose sanctifying grace by committing a mortal sin, such as telling a grave lie, ruining a person's reputation, viewing pornography, using the Lord's name in vain, having sex outside of marriage, skipping Sunday Mass, and so on. Such sins rip the fabric that keeps the world and your relationships in order. It is not possible for God's supernatural life to coexist with such sins, and so sanctifying grace disappears from your soul. If you were to die in this condition, you'd go to hell. But God is always calling you back to union with Him, and He offers you a path back to supernatural life through the sacrament of penance. There is also a second kind of grace, actual grace, which serves as a supernatural encouragement to strengthen sanctifying grace. Actual grace doesn't live in the soul like sanctifying grace. It is a boost of grace that encourages us to live a holy, courageous, and self-sacrificial life. Actual grace is a fruit of the Holy Spirit, and like natural fruits, it takes time to ripen. Early in your spiritual journey, actual grace may seem weak and ineffective, but the soul is like a muscle. The more you work it, through prayer and virtuous acts, the bigger it will get, leaving more room for God to fill it with more grace. It just takes time. You can expand your soul by setting aside time for prayer each day, receiving communion, going to confession regularly, and reading the writings of the saints. The more you do these things, the more you're cooperating freely with the Holy Spirit to grow in sanctifying grace. And all the while, you are working with the Logos to restore order to the cosmos by strengthening the fabric of love that brings joy and happiness to mankind.